Very green.
Come on up, guys. Oh, come on now, guys. All right, we ready? Good afternoon. I'm Chief Robert J. Conti III, Chief of Police here in the Metropolitan Police Department. I'm joined by several members of the Metropolitan Police Department, as well as DEA Special Agent in Charge, Jared Forget. In late January, I briefed many of you on a series of fentanyl-related drug overdoses. And today I can share with you that due to the diligent work of our MPD members, along with the DEA and the United States Attorney's Office, we have arrested and charged 2 persons in connection to this tragedy. This closure was possible because of community connections, outstanding police work, effective and efficient use of technology, and evidence collection. As a recap, during our previous press conference, I relayed on Friday, January 28th, 2022, MPD and DC Fire Emergency Medical Services were notified of multiple medical emergencies spanning from morning to evening, all suspected to be narcotics overdoses. These were primarily concentrated in the southwest quadrant of our city and resulted in a total of 14 community members that were affected, 9 of them that tragically lost their life. I want to echo my sentiments from that day in January by extending my deepest heartfelt condolences to the impacted families by this tragedy. You know, I want everyone to really focus in on this as I call up Commander Cowell to talk about the arrest made. But the amount of fentanyl it takes to take a person's life, you can barely see with the naked eye inside of this vial. That's how serious of an issue fentanyl is in communities, and this poison that's being peddled in our communities is taking the lives of people. But the Metropolitan Police Department, along with our partners in the DEA, we are committed to serving communities and making sure that people are held accountable when they do things in community that make our communities unsafe. And fentanyl makes our communities unsafe. At this time, I want to call up Commander Ramey Kyle of our Violent Crime Suppression Division.
Thank you, Chief. Good afternoon. I'm Commander Ramey Kyle of the Metropolitan Police Department's Violent Crime Suppression Division. Yesterday morning in Northwest DC, a joint investigation by MPD and DEA led to the arrest of 43-year-old Sheldon Marbley and 23-year-old Shamika Hayes, both of Northwest DC. Both were charged in U.S. District Court with conspiracy to distribute cocaine and parafluorofentanyl, unlawful distribution of cocaine and parafluorofentanyl resulting in substantial bodily injury, and aiding and abetting. Immediately following each overdose incident in January, MPD and DEA members responded to each location and began collecting and examining evidence. Detectives pulled video from nearby cameras and conducted investigations in the area to gather as much information as possible. Included in these investigative efforts was the community assistance we received every step of the way. I would like to thank every member of the community who provided us with tips and information, which helped lead to the arrest of these individuals. These cases remained under active investigation, and we expect additional charges to be filed. If anyone has any information about these incidents, please do not hesitate to call our Command Information Center at 202-727-9099 or text our anonymous tip line at 50411. I would also like to stress the dangers of these illegal narcotics. A small amount of fentanyl can have an adverse impact on an individual. If anyone you know is experiencing an overdose, please call 911 immediately. You can also get information where you can access free naloxone kits across the District of Columbia by texting Live Long DC to 888-111. We hope that these arrests can bring some sense of closure to the family and friends of those that lost their lives. We want to also take the opportunity to remind the community that naloxone is available free of charge and can reverse the effects of an overdose. I want to recognize the members of MPD, the DEA, and the United States Attorney's Office for their tireless efforts and many hours of service they dedicated to finding and apprehending the individuals connected to this tragic loss of life. Thank you. DEA Special Agent in Charge, Jared Forget, will now say a few words.
Thanks, Commander. First, I'd like to thank the Chief and members of MPD and the U.S. Attorney's Office for all their hard work on this case and their partnership, because I can tell you from doing this from on the enforcement side, we can't do it alone. DEA can't do it alone. MPD can't do it alone. We all have to work together on the enforcement side. So I thank you for your support on this case. That's important to all of us. Less than 2 months ago, we had a cluster of over a dozen overdoses here in the district on the same city block, to be precise. And too many of those were fatal. And as a matter of fact, if you look around the country, we've seen clusters of these overdoses, to include down in Broward County about 2 weeks ago. We had a cluster of overdoses, and we've seen these clusters too many times throughout this nation. And so these deaths were caused predominantly by fentanyl. Fentanyl is one of the most deadly and potent chemicals and drugs that us at the DEA have ever seen in drug trafficking. And with that, I want to put the fentanyl into perspective. According to the latest CDC numbers, over 105,000 people died during the last 12-month period tracked by the CDC. That amounts to 286 deaths per day, or 1 every 5 minutes. It affects every age, culture, and socioeconomic status, to include all residents in Washington, D.C. and the DMV area. And so my message to those individuals and members of drug trafficking organizations that are peddling fentanyl is that we will hold you responsible for peddling this poison on our streets. That includes distributing fentanyl, counterfeit fentanyl pills laced with fentanyl, or other drugs surreptitiously mixed with fentanyl, leading to these deaths. At DEA, we will not stop, because 1 death is too many. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you. Before we take any questions, I also would like to bring up the captain in charge of our violent crime branch, Captain Kevin Kentish, to also bring you an update, or provide the community an update on a homicide closure that we had today. Kevin?
Good evening. I'm Captain Kevin Kentish of the Homicide Branch. As you may recall, a few months ago, we responded to the scene of a special police officer that was shot and killed while on duty and working in a residential community. In that incident, it occurred on September 21st, 2021, when members of the MPD 7th District were in the 3300 block of 10th Place Southeast. At approximately 8:42, they heard the sounds of multiple gunshots. When they arrived on the scene, bystanders directed them to the victim, who was later identified as 41-year-old Angela Washington of Suitland, Maryland. She had sustained a fatal gunshot wound, tragically leaving her family and friends heartbroken. Our investigation revealed that Angela was responding to this very same sounds of gunshots that our officers heard, and inadvertently was struck fatally. Our detectives canvassed the scene and collected evidence, and to include video footage, which was critical in advancing the case and identifying the suspect. Earlier today, I'm happy to announce that members of the Capital Area Regional Fugitive Task Force located and arrested 22-year-old Jadon Bracey of Temple Hills, Maryland. He was arrested pursuant to a D.C. Superior Court arrest warrant. He waived the right to extradition and was transported to the MPD Homicide Branch, where he was subsequently charged with first-degree murder while armed. Thank you.
Thank you. Again, before we get to questions, I just want to reemphasize the Metropolitan Police Department's commitment to ensure safer communities across the District of Columbia. If you commit murder of any fashion in our city, the Metropolitan Police Department and its partners will not leave any stone unturned to ensure that people are held accountable for those actions. These deaths did not have to happen, whether they were a result of fentanyl use or whether they were the result of reckless gun violence. They did not have to happen. And I want to reemphasize that great police work, evidence collection, and in addition to that, community collaboration is what led to the closure of these cases. So with that, I'll take any questions, some brief questions if you guys have them. Yes.
The victims from the fentanyl overdoses,
Yeah.
I was blown away to realize that most of them were old enough to be, if they were not actually grandparents.
Yeah, I mean, that's, one of the things that we see, but as Special Agent in Charge Forget mentioned, with this fentanyl use we've seen across the country, there is not necessarily a specific age group. It's all age groups, it's all races, it's all socioeconomic status. And in this particular case, these individuals just happen to be a little older. Sam.
I covered the story in Washington.
Yeah.
It did take a while. It wasn't one of those that you managed to close right away. And obviously she was, as I recall, quite popular out there in that neighborhood.
Yes.
What was the delay? I just, any idea of the?
Well, I
Why
wouldn't
was it
say it was
difficult?
I wouldn't say it was a delay, Sam. I mean, obviously this case did not close out as soon as we would like it to. And, as I oftentimes reference, this is not CSI, things don't happen over the course of 60 minutes. But the reality is when you're talking about community cooperation, when you talk about community cooperation with the police, when you talk about all the things that go into making sure that we have the right person in custody, those things take time. The important thing for community members to know is that we will not rest until the job is done. And in that case, for this particular homicide, that case is closed. So hopefully that closure can begin for that family.
And in the case of fentanyl, these were 9 people in the one block that I hear.
Yes.
What was the form of? I didn't cover that one. What was the form of drugs that they used?
Parafluoral fentanyl.
I mean, were they smoking it or what was it?
I'm not sure the manner that they ingested it, Sam, but
Yeah.
we know it was in their system. And unfortunately, we know that several people lost their lives as a result of
I don't recall hearing one that bad. Was that the worst that the city has seen?
the 9. That's probably the worst that I've heard of. All right. Any other questions? Okay. All right. Thank you.